I feel like everyone, myself included, owes all those conspiracy theories people a deep and sincere apology. I don't know if Alex Jones was right about everything, but he was heading in the right direction. Even if he did avoid some elephants in the room, nobody's perfect with all these people. They're heading in the right direction. They're not going to hit on every topic you want them to hit on. If they avoid some personal elephants in the room, it's like, okay, are they still doing good work? Well, you can support them for the work they're doing. You don't have to expect people to be perfect. Anyway, click the links for Odysee, Bit Chute, because that's where most of the content is, not only for this channel, but for everyone who's on YouTube has, they put extra stuff on Odysee because the censorship on YouTube is through the roof. Like, even the quartering does it too. It's like you can watch all his stuff on Odysee without the ads for that kind of normie content. But like where Odysee really shines is the more esoteric stuff, the Alex Jones type stuff, and even going way, way, way beyond Alex Jones. Or join the channel, become a member support channel for as long as the channel lasts. Or through crypto, though. It's recently taken a dump, but crypto is like, they're going to be back because the alternative is this central bank model that people are starting to catch on to, that like, oh, we're not really a republic that runs the country. It's like these central bankers who set interest rates and actually do everything. It's like, oh, is that why they've been turning the first world into economic zones? So nobody will stand up and fight back because there's nothing to fight for? Is that off topic? I'm not sure if it is. Anyway, so Travis Scott and the Satanic Shining Darkness. Was Travis Scott trying to open a wormhole into the dimension of the Shining Darkness and usher in a demon to feed on human souls? Maybe figuratively. Why is this increasing satanic imagery and themes in pop culture? And it's not just with this. It's with, if you get your eyes open, you can see it creeping in. And I'm not sure what percentage of the people are useful idiots, where you've got like the makeup artist who's, telling Taylor Swift to make these certain hand gestures and have a set designed a certain way. It's like, how many of them are useful idiots and how many of them aren't? I don't know, but it's creepy. You see it popping up more and more. It's like, oh, we're just being so delightfully subversive and edgy. Yeah, maybe it started off that way, but now it's kind of getting weird because people are actually getting hurt. Why does it seem like there's so much energy in moving people into the shade and filth? At one time, people would look at children dancing on stage and they would not be cool with it. But now to speak out against it is hate speech. You're denying their existence. Yeah, I'm denying the single mom's ability to whore her child out for $1. Maybe that's the issue. You're just a bigot. So you're saying the bigots are on the side of not sexualizing children, because that's a really weird flex. Why is there so much energy? Everything is pushing away from light, life, family, and nation, as if there are very powerful people with an intent in destruction and perversion. And the Kardashians are actually tied into this too. And the funny thing about the Kardashians, when that show came out 15 years ago, I think, I saw a bit of it and I thought they were all horrible. And I wasn't the only one, but apparently a lot of people were all too eager to go along for the ride on that. And not enough people to raise their hands and go, wait, okay, with everything, you could assume, if anything that's coming out of the government or big media, you can assume you're being manipulated, and they have positions adverse to yours. So anything that's coming out of anything from E-entertainment or anything coming from the TV screen, it's like, oh, it's free. No, it's not free. You're paying for it one way or another, and you don't understand what the bill is. But also that there wasn't any there to the Kardashians. They were chasing $1, and they would do anything to get it. And it's like, how much money is enough for you people, you know? But in a weird twist of the humiliation ritual, they took the audience along for that ride. It was peak plastic Weimar America, which I got to correct myself, because I think that is going to come along in a few months when the Luciferians take their next step with the probably the trans drag kids stuff. I mean, if you're mutilating kids and putting them on stage to dance for the amusement of wicked men and women, there are really only two places to go from there. You get adult-child relations to get past the filter, and actually drinking the blood of babies. The thing with these crazy people who worship Moloch and consume the blood of the innocent. It doesn't matter if there isn't actually a demon. All that matters is that they believe it and act accordingly. When you look at the Kardashians and realize it's a show about nothing. If I remember right, it wasn't even peak degeneracy. The dad was crazy, obviously, but he was in his 60s. It doesn't really matter at that point. And some of the others had chemical dependence issues, but probably below the Hollywood average. But it was a billion-dollar bread and circuses that was about worshiping the nothingness. It's like worship of something way beyond death. Just nothing. And some comedians were laughing at the Kardashians at the time, but it was like a light roasting because they would never go deep because they didn't want to piss off Entertainment, which is a multi-billion-dollar industry, and they're friends with all these other industries. And it's like if you're a comedian, it's like you eventually want to get a show somewhere with them, or at least you're hoping, or at least be hired on as a writer and that kind of stuff, where you can steal jokes from other comedians and sell it to the Schumers. And plus, they know that some of their audience actually watched it, and hashtag 19th was a mistake. And really, if you're doing stand-up and getting deep into the evil of Hollywood, eventually you're going to get your wings clipped. How many people are talking about Epstein, Maxwell, and the flight list? And not too many, in case you're curious. In fact, there appears to be a black hole around the media coverage of Epstein and Maxwell. Because how many of those people in the media, I mean, obviously at the top, the people who are controlling the pivot points, leverages, how many of those people were on those flight logs, or knew people who were on the flight logs? If you're at Comedy Central and the head of Comedy Central, it's like the head was visiting that island. It's like, well, okay, you know which way the wind is blowing if you're working for that network or all these other networks. It's like, there's a certain subset of the population, the wealthy and powerful, who they're looking for thrills beyond the ordinary. Now, are these puppet masters pushing this filth actually worshiping some anthropomorphic demon? I really doubt it, and I hope not, because it's just as silly can be. There actually is a story behind it dealing with the inversion of religion. What is dangerous to them now will cast aside its shell and will be their champion. But that's kind of an Odysee topic because it is deeply weird and not politically correct, which is turning out to be most of the interesting stuff is now on Odysee and Bit Chute. I'm not just saying that. I spend more time on Odysee now because the stuff that used to be on YouTube 10 years ago is all on Odysee, and even more so. So someone showed me a chart of where they got rid of prayer in school and how everything went to hell after that, figuratively at least. There was more to it than that. You had the Hart-Celler Act and the replacement of the father with the welfare state. But all these things are facets of the same crystal. The goal is to create a society rootless and off balance. A society where TV and globalist brainwashed teachers have more influence on kids than parents, their extended family, church, or whatever ethnic tribal affinity group like a French or Russian club. Globalists are acid on a system. They constantly use the rules of a high-trust society against it because they're low-trust people. If they see a community of families who attend church and have culture clubs, they know that that's the enemy. It's an unspoken rule, and the normie is finally starting to understand this. They will do their best to bring in things to upset the order in the name of inclusion, representation, and diversity, like low-income housing into a neighborhood that's already a perfectly well-functioning neighborhood. Okay, we'll put low-income housing right in the center of it. Well, why would you do that? Is it going to be beneficial to who? Who is it going to be beneficial to? It's going to be beneficial to the globalists, ultimately. Or they'll bring in businesses to disrupt and dismantle high-trust people. They do things like they'll go to Christian bakeries, obviously, but they're never going to go to a Muslim or a Jewish one. And, our guys are so friggin' naive that they never think to pull the same stunts, but with Muslim or Jewish bakeries. Ask them to... Though Crowder did it, and it's like, yeah, YouTube is just looking for a reason to kick him off, and something like that is right on the thin ice of YouTube you can punch in one direction, but you can't punch in the other. And you look at someone like Crowder, it's like, yeah, he's doing great stuff, but he's also getting paid millions of dollars to stay on YouTube. So every month he stays on YouTube is I don't know, hundreds of thousands of dollars coming in. So he's not going to do anything to throw that off. And, I don't blame him. There's a golden cage for our side, too. The thing is, they're not pro-free speech. They're anti-Christian and anti-European Americans. They actively work to erode civilization. So this latest satanic push isn't to bring accolades to the Prince of Lies. It's to move people away from the structure of Christianity, which I suppose if you're Christian, then it's kind of the same thing. But I mean that they're using the cloak of Satanism to accomplish their evil goals, which I suppose is satanic. See, it's sort of this weird situation where people act evil for so long. It sort of makes you wonder about greater forces at play, even to the most avowed, like, scientific atheist. Things just get weirder and weirder. And anyway, so love it or hate it, Christianity provides positive structure. They see that and they know they have to destroy it. If you control TV that is sending out anti-Christian propaganda 24/7, as TV has been doing for the past 50 years, nothing can compete with the electronic babysitter. Nothing. You have to start by getting rid of the TV, smartphones, and unsupervised computer use for kids. The only way you can do this is in sort of a managed community, which the media would call a cult, which sort of would be accurate, but it would be a cult of life, not this Saturn, Santa, Satan cult of death. Letting your kids listen to rap should be child abuse. It's dumb music intended to make people turn off their brain. I'm not saying some of it doesn't require skill, but most of it was designed to make people violent, developmentally disabled people retards. And mumble rap has got to be the lowest of the low. The weird thing is that there actually was a time where rap was different. Rap in the 80s was a different beast entirely. But these people decided to control rap from the business side of things and make gangster rap very profitable. If you want to, like, the source to the video for that, hit me up on Discord. It's on a different website. It's this anti-life equation calculated by people who view humans as nothing more than chess pieces to be destroyed when the game is over. They don't live with the consequences of their decisions because they live in a gated compound away from it all. They start the fire and miss the firefight. Anyway, like, comment, subscribe, and I'll see you guys on the next episode.